welcome you to Dream School Second Shenka. Haha, lonuku se aishnaya keke. And just beginning a little bit to unravel yourself from wherever you've been today, whatever's been going on. To sink into the now. The now that is timeless. The now that is your total presence. Oh, the now that requires nothing of you. Yeah, if you can find yourself in that suspension energy today, that would be really nice. Can you tell with that second Shenka what we're going to be working with today? A lot of these energies are going to invite surrender, as is the way. Because as we continue to move forward through Dream School, we're going to recognize that each Shenka is a stargate. It's a portal that when we know how to turn it on the right way, we can begin to affect reality. Something fun I found for you this time, the caduceus. You've maybe seen that, the staff with the 2 snakes on it. Originally had 7 snakes on it, and it was the secret symbol of the Jadoo, those who had been initiated in the Jed. Those are the dream speakers. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about this idea of what if this whole world is just a simulation, and in the dreams they can be doing anything to us. And I was like, wait, maybe to some people, but not to us, because that's what we've been asked to do, is stay awake through the dream, to play with the dream, not to be played by it. So I want to congratulate you on making it through the root. It is the most primal. It is the prima materia of what it takes to be a human being. And in those places, shit be thick. It's dense, as we talked about in Integration Nation. It's really the challenge of taking on form that we get to learn there. So as we move into the second, and each time that we're ascending into a different stargate, things will get a little bit lighter, but not yet. So because this second Shenka is going to be tricky of its own devising, we're going to have lots of support woven in here today. So we will be working, they say, like between left and right brain, between states of hyper-awareness and states of total presence. So we trust that you can kind of move back and forth a little bit. Please don't be overwhelmed. Do your very best today by doing nothing at all. That's sweet. So let's just go ahead and begin to arrive a little bit. Allowing yourself to dissolve into that diamond light. Loosening your grip on reality. And surrendering to the netters anything that's too much. As you come into your root, maybe just breathing a little different to titillate that Jed. Feeling that gold throne, that oust that is you. Sinking down into the inner earth, to the temple of you. That's sweet. And they said, and knowing this is home. They say make any adjustments to your Jed that might be needed. If it's leaning, if it's slouching, if it's toppled over. And for this moment, we don't need to do too much more than that as we begin today. Reminding you that we are indeed working in the mysteries. And I always feel like that second Shenka, that sacral, is really where the mysteries come to life. It's where reality steps away in a different way. It's where the initiations cannot be explained but must be experienced. We're turning on these vessels, and in doing so, gaining the lived experience. That lived experience becomes your medicine, becomes your knowing, your gnosis that allows you to walk through the world in different ways. Thank you. But the trick of any shaman, the trick of any mystery teaching, is that we must unravel from mass consciousness. And I think here in the second Shenka, more than any other, we want to invoke you, my love. The light of you, the truth of you, the beauty of you, the fullest expression of you. For the first time here in second begins to be teased a little bit. Root is really going to be very what it takes to get a body. It's not very personal. It's very non-personal. It's very of this world. As we come into the second, oh, guess what? Your shit starts showing up different. And it's okay, because this is absolutely necessary in every way. So welcome to the mysteries. Welcome to your mystery. Welcome to the path of you. And with that, I'm going to ask Marilyn to come on as the voice of the lineage, as we call forth today those who have lovingly paved the way for us to be here now.
Let us all honor the lineage, each and every one who has brought the mysteries forward to us. We honor Andy Murphy. We honor Margie Mulligan. We honor Nadia K. Eagles. We honor Countess Olga. We honor Tara Naganza. We honor Nefu the Benevolent, and all those others whose names are lost in the sands of time. We call them forward to be here with us now. We honor the mysteries, we protect the mysteries.
Angsa.
Angsa.
Each time it comes through, it feels a little different. And today, I don't know if you just recognized, even with the speaking of the names, your jet activates a little differently. Your field activates a little bit differently. So let's go ahead and do our power up, getting you all the way here, my love. I ask you to find that piece of radiant joy. That piece of you feels closer to the divine than any other. Maybe it's a new one, maybe it's one you've worked with before. But allow that transcendent joy to fill up your body. Every cell, every follicle, every synapse. Ong Sa as it begins to come online. Ong Sa. Ong Sa. Ong Sa. Ong Sa. Ong Sa. As the rivers of it begin to flow even more magnificently through you, bursting through your crown with the fire mist. Ong Sa. Spilling out around you. The blessings. Sporoidal field of pure joy. Total bliss. Oust. The joy that is you. Oust. Oh. Filling up your throne each time it cycles around. Ooh, and perhaps inviting the netters forward to drink from your divine nectar. Ong Sa. Ong Sa. Oh, and really giving your body permission, your cells permission to vibrate at a new frequency. Becomes more and more stable with each iteration of Ong Sa. Ong Sa. Ong Sa. And if you can feel that Taurus, make sure it's going around you 360 degrees, left to right, front and back. Woo, yeah, I like that. Ong Sa. Ong Sa. Ong Sa. Good job, Lovey. It was cute. As it was kind of like spilling out of the top of our heads and then circling around, coming into the oust, it is starting to begin that microcosmic orbit. I think the microcosmic orbit might go up and over. But just recognize, like, all of the lineages come together. The Egyptian, it's my frame of reference. It's one of them. It's the initiation that you're going through, but it will sync up with so many other traditions as well, because we're working with the purest energies, the saws, the seeds, the hecaus. And each time that we gather, we will be building a little bit more and building a little bit more. So today with the Jed. The Jed. And you might have been discovering this for yourself already, but the Jed is the sound current. It's the story that you come in to tell. It's vibrational in that very way. And today we're going to be working quite a bit with the void, and we want to understand the way that the sound works. The sound begins to create form. That form, the sound, works through the Jed. The Jed gives it as a directive. Because the Jed is telling reality what it is. It's telling the universe how to organize and structure itself. I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days too. The Jed, as it is telling reality what it is, the trick of the second Shenka is that we have these traumas and these wounds inside of us. We have these limiting beliefs inside of us. So that reality is like, hey, I am infinite. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, scarcity. Whatever your trauma is, that will radiate through your field. It is sung by the Jed, which is why it keeps cycling back to you. It's how matter takes form. So with these traumas, as they come up, watch for the things that you're talking about for when your Jed maybe gets tight. Like you get uptight, or you get wound up, or there's things to unravel. It's truly those chords of Akka that we're going to start playing with just a little more consciously this time, so that that Jed is free and unencumbered. Doesn't that feel better? All of the stories that we have been told just radiating through us. And in this second Shenka, this is when we begin to look at those stories. And we're like, I don't know if I believe that anymore. The breath is going to help you this time, because we want to consciously start creating reality. We want to consciously change the programs that are in the Jed that we're not aware of. And you know what? In order for those things to become aware, for us to become aware of those things, that's where shit gets messy. The chanting that we do, Ong Sa is what we're going to be working with a little bit today. You want to do that? Let's do an Aminu Mahakaru. Let's go ahead and clear out that Jed. Aminu Mahakaru. Aminu Mahakaru. Just so we can kind of work today from a place that is clearer. Aminu Mahakaru. Aminu Mahakaru. Aminu Mahakaru. Aminu Mahakaru. Any of the chants that you do will begin organizing your brain's electrical system. It begins to give the override codes, right? Stimulating your immune system, strengthening your muscular system. Aminu Maha Karu. And today, as we work with the Jed, we're going to be building upon it. So you know the cube that we did last time. Well, that's your base, baby. We need something strong, something that is clean and pure, pure, solid gold of you. I'm having trouble with words today, aren't I? The solid gold that is you, the solid base, the strength of that, so that you can build all of the other Shenkas upon it. Oust. Oust. So let's get into the juice of the second Shenka. Yep, thanks. Its element, or its seker, is water. The Egyptian word for water is mu. Lemuria, Murphy, Morgan Le Fay, Merlin. The mu shows up in so many of these lineages. The water that moves through us. Thank you. They're saying, I won't feed that in. Thank you. We're going to have a lot of different experiences of your water today, and I don't want to contaminate what your water is. We want to have pure experiences of those today. The container that your water is held in, you ready for this? It's a crescent moon, but it's not a moon. They were so clear about that this time. They say I've been teaching it wrong the whole time. Oh, okay. It's a cradle. It's the Ganusa. So you can just visualize for a sec. Oh, wait, you don't have to visualize. Guess what? Lady's got some fucking slides over here that I created. You don't need to visualize shit. So here's your Ganusa. We're going to get into a little bit more. That Ganusa that is going to be filled with all manner of water. And as we said, this is where things get tricky. Because here in those waters, of course it's emotion, of course it's intuition. It's the invisible, it's the unseen, it's the beliefs, it's the unresolved. It's also the place where we recognize our division from the divine, where we feel separation and judgment and shame and guilt and all the... It's where we feel. The thing that I want you to pay attention to is where you've been squashed, where that true light of your existence, the fullest expression of your joy and radiance, has been told it was either too much or not enough. These will be very big lessons over the next few weeks. And in that regard, each time something comes up, oh my gosh, we have so many tools. We have so many ways that you can begin to work with this more consciously. The power dynamics is what begins to show up here in the second. Nadia wanted to make sure that I stressed here that this is where most people will fall behind and many people will not make it through. And I say that not to scare you. I say that because, motherfucker, we are here to support and love you. Don't you dare go hiding in your own shame spirals and pain and purposelessness. I can't fucking speak today. Good thing we're doing altered stuff, huh? This is where you're going to need some support. We're here. Please let us be here. Please let us be here. Naminu Maha Karu, whatever you experience in there that feels so dark or feels so gross, you aren't the first one experiencing it. Goodness, no. When you experience it and allow it to rise up, there's a very good connection. I know, that's a little, hold up. There's a very good connection between the second Shenka and the heart Shenka. We want to bring everything up to heart to be like, oh yeah, I didn't know better. I'm not so bad. Okay, let's get into one of those not so bads. I was doing this one yesterday because, we all have shit that shows up time to time. So if you would go ahead and do this little thymus thump. Good. This little thymus. It's the high heart thump. I love the universe. The universe loves me. I love humanity. Humanity loves me. I love me. I love the universe. The universe loves me. I love humanity. Humanity loves me. I love me. So whatever starts to rise up, you might find yourself having whatever trauma response you do. Just coming back to this is going to be just the first way that we play with it today. So let's talk about that cradle, the Ganusa. We'll have a really good hekau that goes along with that Ganusa as well. But the coolest thing about the second Shenka and your way out is that you get to birth yourself. You get to take all the divinity that is you. And as we purge and as we clear and as we do our fucking shadow work and as we come into like love and not shame, this becomes the cradle that you birth your true self, your highest self. It is both a womb and a tomb. It's where you die. It's where you're born, as all things are. The one inside of your body, you can just begin to feel that on your body. You can set it on your Jed unofficially right now. Let those waters begin to fill it. And I want to talk specifically about the male womb as well. So for those of you who don't actually have a womb in place, whether it has been removed or whether you didn't get one at all, there are tons of initiations of the masculine womb. Sweat Lodge, Temazcal for the Mayans. The quest for the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, all of those are womb quests for the masculine to understand this energy. Nadia was even saying like the big Buddha belly. This is the divine birthing itself. That's so cute. They're like, what about beer bellies on men? Well, yeah, isn't that kind of a fucking way that they're doing it too? They're seeking something they don't know how to give themselves. So the masculine, without a womb at times, knows blood through pain. The feminine, those with wombs, well, hell, we don't have to have pain in order to have blood. We know exactly what that cycle is. So some of these things could begin coming up for you as we're in your cradle, the Ganusa. The Seker. We're going to talk about Seker and just add a little bit more to that too. Nadia's words. Seker is the etheric field that surrounds the body and contains all information about its past, patterns, and blueprints for the future throughout all of time. The Sekers, pretty important, these primary elements, right? The very first things that begin to create things. All of the information is in there. The Seker is also the distillation of the essence of the netters. It becomes a door through which they can come through. So we've got 2 netters who have offered themselves today. Kind of cool. Maybe 3. But when you think about the elements, the Sekers, I want you to also recognize that they are senses. We can get a little more into that. They're forces of nature. They're forces. They all have their own electrical quality to them. Might be more than we're getting into. But let's get into the moo. 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 Because the waters are turbulent. And they're always moving. Moo. As long as it's moving, you can't see it. And that's why I said this is where the mysteries really start coming to life for us as we're setting it. The emotions, the feminine, the intuition, and all of the feelings. Thanks. So I really want you to allow yourself to feel the feelings as we're playing this time. Nadia, stay with the pain. The pain itself is the river that will take you out to the great oceans of joy. It is the joy that will not be taken away because it is the joy that is love. In the pain is where the luminous gem is. So whatever begins to come up for you, I want you to do whatever you need to come into stillness, to get underneath it. Let's get into that stillness for a moment, shall we? So allow yourself just to maybe go into these waters of you. Whether it's already set as a Ganusa, whether it's just your second chakra. Whether it's womb, whether it's the absence of a womb, just go in here. Be observer in here. Recognizing there's always some type of a conversation going on in here. The judgments, the trying to understand, the trying to hop out of, trying to make logic of feelings. And I want you to see that dot right in the middle and just come into the stillness of. Oh, that's sweet. They say Ganusa Sa. Ganusa Sa. Ganusa Sa. Ganusa Sa. Okay, you want to add to it? Ganusa Sat. Ganusa Sat. Ganusa Sat. Ganusa Sat. That t stops time. The Sa is going to call upon the highest frequency, bring you into the purest point of the Ganusa of whatever that is going on there. It's sweet. Ganusa Sat. To stop whatever the duality is. This is really where duality lives. It's the yes and. It's the not good enough and not and too much. So your gift this time is seeking the stillness over and over. However that looks. When you're in stillness, it reflects the state of heaven, the state which is true. Nadia's words. Each temple is a state of mind that is the luminous gem, the secret treasure that holds the elixir that will bring us to higher life forms. So this is why we have to listen to the pain at times. Not too much. Don't go hunting, and instead let them come up. Because within the paradox of everything, within this duality, we're looking for the stillness over and over. It's the antidote to what we're doing. I think we talked about this quite a bit, but it was a really interesting one as Nadia was sitting with me yesterday. The wound and the wisdom is what we're playing with in each of these centers, each of these stargates. And the wound of the second is fucking massive. It's the separation. It's issues of power and control. It's helplessness. It's domination. And especially in this time now. Just another piece from Nadia that seems really pertinent. Sexuality and war come out of the same place. It's the sacral that sexual identities arise. That also arises the concept of other. Frustration and tension distorted by helplessness. As soon as you see yourself not as you, not as the same as you, what has been created is division. As long as that division is maintained and lives in a society that maintains it at all costs, we will have war. We will have this destruction. We will have the inability to go beyond the parameters of the conscious mind and enter into what really is. Nadia talked about this as dominator consciousness. So we might have different language now that we're understanding it, but war and sex. Second Shenka. And I'll drop this in here. You can chew on it later. The prize of war is always the feminine. So watch for your own helplessness. I don't think we have anyone here who's the dominator. I don't think we have anyone who's behaving in those ways. You may have aspects of you that do. Watch for that too, whatever your shadow side is. They'll come up. Aminu Mahakaru. They're there to protect you. And pay particular attention to your own self-hatred. The parts of you where you're like, not me. The brutality of that is significant. Of you cutting yourself off or disowning a piece of you or denying the pain of an experience that again is waiting there to be the luminous gem that comes in as your magic and your medicine. Also a caution here. This is not only where some will get lost, it's also where some go crazy. It's dark waters in there. Ganusa Sat. Come back. I love the universe and the universe loves me. I love humanity. Humanity loves me. I love myself. The crazy making can be disturbing to people who love you, who don't get it on the outside. I promise you, we're in it for 2 weeks. We'll keep moving. But this unraveling from the world or unraveling from your own personality. I had a thought last week. I'm like, what if my personality is all just a fucking trauma response? Huh. Cool. Let me sit in the void of that. That's actually a pretty good place to be. So you ready for Ganusa? Oh, are you ready for Ganusa? I'm going to go ahead and sing it because I think it's time. I'm not a singer, excuse me. I'm going to sing it. I want you to begin to come in with it as soon as you have it, and we'll talk about it even more. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. 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 And let that song just begin singing you. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. 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 Keep singing it if it feels right. We'll talk a little bit. It's the song of birthing yourself. Ganusa is the cradle. Mace is to birth. Ganusa mace asahu. Asahu being the divine aspect of you. It's your truest self that never dies. It's the immortal parts of you, your God self. Starimba ganusa. Star is splendor, the joy. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. Let it find you. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. And you can tell in its cyclical nature, starting with the Ganusa, ending with the Ganusa, being the cradle. Come back to the cradle to birth my divine self. Through my splendor and my joy, may I come home to myself. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. We're also going to speak this time about the sexual energies that could come up. Because that's second Shenka too. The sexual identity challenges and crises that we find ourselves in personally and collectively right now. And recognizing in these sexual energies like sex. It's juicy. It's wonderful. It's loving. And it's always a desire to unite. So when we go into that separation energy that inevitably comes up, make sure that you're maybe just doing something to cultivate the unity of it, the desire to unite through the sexual energies. We're going to use these sexual energies as food for the master. Your Sahu, that's you. Ganusa mesa Sahu starimba ganusa. And this would also be a really good time to practice some conscious orgasms. You have things that you need help with? Great, bring that up. Bringing that orgasm up, not just to be released through genitals, but maybe even bringing it up to heart, doing some tantric practices, bringing it up with breath, up to crown. Woo! Oh, thanks. You want to do that? You want to practice some cows with an orgasm? Anybody done that yet? Because, game changer right there. Let's just say that. If you can remember, like, have them written down next to you if you need to. If you're with a partner who's not participating in mystery school, just don't share the meaning, but, like, let it roar, baby. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. Okay, we're going into our big initiation today. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. You don't need to or sing this one too much here for a little bit. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. Whoop whoop. They've been very specific of how they want this one to go. So let's do it. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. And stay with me today. We're doing this activation a bit differently. Coming into you, into your oust, and allowing yourselves to sink down into that inner temple. And I want you to again find the void here within your inner temple. The waters that are underneath. Good, and when you find them, coming to your Jed. Setting that Ganusa, that cradle, crescent moon with the tips pointing up, resting it right on top of your oust. Golden cube at your base. Allowing those ancient waters to fill you now. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. Allowing this Jed of your inner temple to be set. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. And pay attention to these waters now. Your inner earth temple. This aspect of your Jed. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba ganusa. And we're going to begin to ride these waters up through your Jed, piercing into living now you, setting the Ganusa on your Jed, waking state, present self, and paying attention to the quality of these waters. Setting this Ganusa. And you might pay attention if that cradle wants to rock, or if it can be still. The Mu, of course, is always in motion. Give ourselves an experience of the stillness with Ganusa Sat. 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 Good, and you might feel those energies on their own beginning to bubble up. Moving through your body and through your Jed. Ooh, they say carry this one as a cradle this time, not just the waters on their own. The entire Ganusa now. Moving up through your body, piercing out through your crown, going into the dreaming temple of you. And assuring yourself that you're in your dreaming temple by seeing the stars underneath your feet. And let's just set this Ganusa here on your dreaming temple self, your highest self, Jed. Make any adjustments that need to be made to your root. Setting that Ganusa in place. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba Ganusa. 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 Come into stillness with it now to experience its essence. What the mu of your divine self is. Place of creation and destruction. Place of everything and no thing. Just witness the paradox. Oh, maybe also witness this highest self, Ganusa. Different issues, different wounding, if any at all. Sing as you're led. Ganusa mesa sahu starimba Ganusa. 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 And feel the strength of your Jed solidifying just a bit more through all aspects of you. Ooh, they say practicing with that dreaming temple Ganusa, taking things in and out of form, they say. Like transfer it from one one aspect of you to another. Play with it in the coming weeks. Anything that might feel too much for your human self, transfer it up to divine self. See what happens. Drop it down into inner earth self. Ah. Whew. If there are those sexual energies that are rising, allowing them to work through all three aspects of you as well, moving through all of the jeds. Heard, heard, heard. And come back down now into present self, Jed. Allowing yourself just to have an experience. They say that we have been working with all three, so tesseract them. Bring them all back to you now. This would be a very good time for you to make notes of what you experienced if you would like. Or just keep riding the waves of you. I'm going to put up here for us now just that image of what's being built upon the Jed. They likely will begin activating on their own and together. You don't need to do too much for that. I have Michael Maddie's voice in my head. Yes, everything starts and ends there at the taint, doesn't it? We have some good teachings on that too. Michael, I'll ask you to drop that into Mighty Networks at some point in time. So, what we're learning today with this Ganusa is that this joy really is a creative force. Come to beingness out of formlessness. And this is what the Mu will teach us. Ganusa Mes Asahu Star Emba Ganusa. If you want to activate this a little bit more on your own, pay attention to roses. Pay attention to black granite or black obsidian. That would be representative of the Mu. Its color is silver, but it also shows up a lot of times very black. So I work with a silver sheen obsidian over here. And that's my Ganusa baby. Any type of womb massage that you might want to do during the couple weeks would feel really good too. You can learn. Rosita Arvigo is the one who brought the Mayan massage back into modern consciousness, but let your intuition guide you. However you do it is right. That's cute. They're like, kind of. Let everything move toward navel. So whether it's down or whether it's moving it up, let everything come out through navel. Heard, heard. All actions should direct toward navel. Okay, great. So in addition to the emotional crises that may show up in the next couple of weeks, crises, the tears of Isis, that Mermana, all the same energy. The physical symptoms, headaches, because we've talked about the cranial is moving a bit. The fluids cannot orient into time and space the way they used to. This is where you could feel like you're going mad because you're like, I don't understand. Like, this worked for me yesterday. Doesn't work. We're unraveling all of these knots and all of these cords and all of these lies about you, about humanity, about civilization that are on your Jed. Everything is being dissolved here through the Ganusa. Drink lots of water. Move. That's cute. I heard that's a great idea. They say even putting that symbol of the Ganusa on your water would help you purge and detox in different ways. Cool, great idea. There will be a lot of detoxing that goes on this time because you were very actively working with these energies here in your body. Probiotics could be a good idea. Heard. Thanks. Nausea may also show up. Because again, you can't orient anymore the same way you did. Could throw off all of the equilibrium and balance. When those things occur, we come back into stillness. Ganusa Sat, the tapping. Or I want you to just drop all the way into the stillness of the void space within your inner temple. Learning how to access that stillness even while all of these other things are going on will be a mega tool. I think you know that, right? Body pain could show up this time differently. As Dina was saying, the spine is decalcifying for a lot of us as we're doing this. A lot of the stuckness and stiffness that may have been in you in the past is undoing itself quite literally. So as you are becoming a different person, you could have some body pains. If you want something different of your physical form, this would be a very good time to ask for that too. We had someone who we were working with who really wanted bigger breasts, and so that was always her intention. So like, go where you go with this. I might ask for lesser mass. You might ask for more somewhere. Cool, do that. Because we are in every way in this process of creating ourselves. Create yourself in your own divine image, my love. And if you don't remember what that is, go up into that dreaming temple. Let's work with the dreaming temple a bit more consciously this time too. I think that would be supremely helpful, so that whenever you're going into a dream state, and we really will not get into, let me not say that. I don't know where we're going. That's fair. They want this second Shenka to begin the time when you begin working with your dreams just a little more consciously. Begin to like ask for something as you go into sleeping spaces, so that when you wake up, you'll have answers. I know, I have notes. Thank you. What do you need? Ask for what you need whenever you intentionally go into dreaming. What do you want to learn? What do you unlock? What do you want to remember? Are there any skills that you want to turn online? This would be a good time in that dreaming journal to start writing these things down. So whenever you wake up, the dream has been given as an answer in some ways, as a message and a prayer from your highest self. Ooh, 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 ooh. There are two netters who have offered themselves this time for us. The one who seems pretty obvious to me is Kefra. Kefra. He's the scarab-headed god. Scarab came forward for this round of dream schools. Oh, clearly. Oh my goodness. I'll get you guys, because they just both dropped in today, I'll get you guys the Hekau that goes along with Kefra. And if you can't ever find it, Ong Kefara Sa, Ong, the name Sa, to anything, calls up the highest emanation of it, calls up the purest sense of it. Ong Kefara Sa. And the netters, when we talk about them, as we will quite a bit, the netters we could think of as gods, but I really liked this way that Nadia explained it. They're the cosmic principles that sustain the genesis of everything that is, everything that has been created, and everything that has been uncreated. And I get real fucking excited about uncreation at times, unraveling things, dissolving things. That would be a Sam Na Em energy. To dissolve it sweetly, to unravel it from yourself, allow that Hekau to support you as needed. And working with that inner earth, inner void, that's a new one. See what those waters are. See if they give labels to the different wombs of you, the different ganusas of you. This is where I didn't want to populate. I was having my own experiences yesterday. And as I was sitting in, let's say that. I was anxious yesterday. And I was anxious in ways where like I couldn't quite get around it. And they're like, well, use the fucking tools. And I was like, let me use the fucking tools. And as I used the tools, all of a sudden these different pieces began to click in. And so sitting here in like this Ganusa of present Andy, I could peer in through like the blackness and through the waters into like the inner earth and find the stillness of it. That stillness reflected back stillness to me. Cool. You're learning these things. They're learning you. The unraveling of whatever you no longer want, of what is not working, super helpful. Thanks. Thanks. Yep, let's get Kefir all the way in here. Let's see. Kefir. The word Kefir means to become. So Kefir Ra is literally translated as becoming the sun. becoming a god. This is what we're in the process of. This is why Dream School has been his the whole time. If you know anything about that scarab, I know I have this from Sweet Robin. Robin got this for me years ago. Not good. It's a barrette. I've never used it as a barrette, but like it is a really sacred amulet that is here all the time. It's the scarab. Scarab is also the symbol of Cancer. Hey, big surprise there, right? The scarab, I'll let you have your own geek out on it, but I'll just say, like, the things that always fascinate me and that I keep coming back to, they create themselves. They roll a ball of dung, right, that has the seed in it. The seed and the shit is the same thing. They roll it and it becomes and takes on new life. They are always orienting that ball of dung, that seed, toward the Milky Way. What the fuck? These little beings are always cosmically aligned. Cool. And I think for me, at times, especially through root and through second Shenka, I have to remind myself, like the shit of me, the worst parts of me, the judgments and the shame and the things that I'm like, oh God, please don't let anybody know that. The shit is what literally becomes the fodder of something new. And the scarab will remind us of that over and over. So if you do see scarab show up, yeah, pretty big deal. The second netter who's coming in to support us has never made an appearance here, and that's Moot. Of course, it's Moot. Moot is translated as mother. She's the oldest, she's the ancientest. And why Moot is saying she's particularly important this time is because she's parthenogenic. Parthenogenic, is that how we say it? She is male and female. She is neither, she is both. She lies beyond the concept of God. And this is where I think my practices will be coming into this dream school. You might be affected by it or you might be doing your own work. But it is this idea of we're being asked to conceive something that hasn't been dreamed in yet. The dream is so much bigger than what we can see so far. Because this whole reality, Samnayam, is kind of going away. The new one that's coming in, it has to be re-envisioned in a completely new way. Moot is the one who can help us with this. Moot sometimes has got the double head. She's the vulture and the snake. And in Nadia's words, Moot is a symbol for that which is beyond anything that can be conceived. Heard. There are also, in that watery energy, it can also feel like weaving at times. Because we are weaving things out of creation and weaving new ones in. So pay attention to that, because what's happening for us in this round of Dream School is that we're going outside of reality, outside of what's been created, into the unmanifest, into what can be created and bringing that in. You could have some rocking going on. Remind your loved ones, temporary, this will not be forever. And Ong Moot Sa is where you can begin working with Moot in that way. And in, thank you, the way that Moot is coming in right now, she says she's the one who dreamed you into being. In some ways, this is her playground and her experiment, Moot. Cool. Learn directly from them who they are and what they are. Don't go Googling ever. Goodness, no. Have your own experience. Bring it to us. And then if you need to go looking for something that substantiates it a little bit, it's a good time to do it. Let me see what else wants to be shared today. Moot is really stepping forward. Thank you. She is celebrating our timing of this, because our timing, we're also moving into Taurus. So these are not energies that are going to be super hard. These Taurus energies, they're kind of luscious. They're kind of juicy. It's a really good time to be doing second Shenka work. It's not going to be additionally challenged by anything. She's also, I heard. They're celebrating that we're doing the hard stuff before we get to eclipse season and before we get to retrograde. Great. Yeah, look how well that fucking worked out for us, huh? We're not going to be doing any of the heavy lifting in those things. And instead, especially, oh, goodness gracious, once we start even getting into the third Shenka, the will center, things start getting more exciting and will only increase as we continue moving up your Nile, creating this Jed. A sincere reminder, ask for help as you need it. Michael, Maddie, Marilyn, and Loren are there. Sarah has offered as well. We're all pretty gifted healers here. So if you need something, please reach out. You can do that through Mighty Networks. Don't be shy. It's what we've been asked to do. And it's why we're here, because there will be moments where you get into your own shit so bad and you're like, if I feel anybody hiding, I also have permission to fucking go knocking. Got it? If anybody doesn't want me to knock and you're like, hey, I really just need a couple of days, maybe you can give me a heads up on that as well. Otherwise, recognize in my sacred service here with you, I'm not going to let anybody fall behind. It's contrary to what we've been asked to do here. Thanks. Yeah. So next time they wanted me to remind you, we're coming out of the muck and into the fires of you. And that's not for a little while. But April 30th, we will be joining for Integration Nation, coming back together here. Whew. Thanks. Thanks. They want to acknowledge that the way that we did it today is contrary to how we've ever done it before. Very intentionally, please practice that first, where we went down into the inner earth and then built the Jed and added that Ganusa all the way up. I heard. Somebody has a question, if you will have Jeds that are above your dreaming temple. Of course you will. These will go into all dimensionalities and all experiences and every reality that has not been dreamed in yet. So you can do that. Maybe don't do it right now. Like maybe it's just practice with the 3, because the 3 is even bigger than anything we've done before. In the past, we were just working with like this self. I don't think we were even setting any of the Shenkas in the dreaming self. Interesting. Yeah, don't get too ahead of us. We want all of this to be so stable so that whenever we do go through our, they're calling it a graduation. That's cute. When we do go through that graduation, then we have stronger powers because we've done these really well. Noted. Noted. Stillness is your gift, my love. When the waters get turbulent, when you feel confused, when you feel frightened, when you feel powerless, learning how to access, God, it's like that primordial water down underneath. That might be my experience, excuse me. Have your own experience of that. But those waters that are underneath your inner temple, it's unharnessed power, isn't it? Oh, thank you. They say let it wash you too. Let it cleanse you. Let it create you. Ongsa. Ongsa. Love you.